Yo, what's up everyone? It's Josh back with the EnVision vlog, and today we're going to be looking at some RP truths. The inspiration for this video actually comes from a Facebook page also titled RP Truths. I discovered it in a post a couple of days ago, and the page actually was started in like 2015 by this girl named Katie, and she apparently is doing some awesome work with this page and this blog and everything that she's been doing, trying to promote truths about retinitis pigmentosa. The page was full of a lot of inspirational quotes and a lot of relatable posts, and she really has this whole thing geared towards letting people with retinitis pigmentosa explain their situation. Because let's be real here, retinitis pigmentosa is a complicated thing to explain. I mean, you got a condition where you can't see everything the way everyone else sees. Some days the vision is good, some days the vision is bad, and you try to explain it to someone, but they can't see what you see. So a lot of times those explanations fall on deaf ears. So I am 100% on board for what Katie is doing with RP Truths. Not only is she allowing people to, learn about retinitis pigmentosa and spread awareness, but, also those relatable posts allows people with retinitis pigmentosa to truly take ownership of their experience and explain it to those who may not necessarily know otherwise. Also, let's mention that 10% of our commissions actually go to the Foundation Fighting Blindness, which I think is totally sick. So yeah, Katie, keep doing what you're doing. Now, as far as the video for today, one of the posts that I actually saw her make actually had 140 pictures depicting different RP truths. Experiences that people with retinitis pigmentosa believe to be true and they experience every single day. People on the outside that don't have RP may not always understand, but people with RP who experience this stuff every day, extremely relatable. So I read through a couple, maybe 4 or 5, and I was just like, man, 140 of these truths, I gotta do a reaction video to this. While some of these truths may be relatable, not all of them are going to be the same for every single person with RP. RP affects people differently, and so I figured I would talk a little bit about these truths as I react to them and explain a little bit about my experiences with retinitis pigmentosa. Let's get started. Truth number 1, it's right there, doesn't help. So relatable. It's when I walk into certain rooms that I'm not familiar with, or I'm looking for something that maybe I placed down that's like, a dark object on a dark table, and I ask someone where it is. Oh, it's right there. No, it doesn't help at all. I don't know where right there is half the time. People who have been around me for large amounts of time know that when I look for something and they use the phrase right there, I automatically respond with, where's there? I think sighted people often forget, how good they have it when they don't have to rely on such descriptive language just to find an object that literally could be like right in front of your face. RP Truth 2, are you blind? No, I just like carrying around the stick. This is one that I don't experience a lot because I actually haven't gotten to the point where I use the cane on a regular basis. Some of my behaviors have actually had people asking if I was actually blind. When I was in New York, I was actually buying clothes one time out with some friends, and I went to go check out at the register, and when I went to go pay, in order to see what was on the credit card reader, I had to like get really close to it like this, and when I did, the cashier lady was like, "Young man, are you blind?" Got my face in the credit card reader, I just look at her and I'm just like, yes. She turned about 50 shades of red. She's just like, oh my God. And I'm just like, ma'am, if you were a bird, you'd be awkward. Yeah, behaviors, mannerisms, or using assistive technology, for the most part, it does indicate some degree of visual impairment. RP truth number 3. Oh, look, there's a plane. Oh, cool. Didn't even bother looking at it. If there's a plane out and I hear it, I'll look up, and if I can't find it within 3 seconds, I'm just like, whatever. I do live near an airport, and oftentimes when we drive by it, I'll see planes like going in, and that's like when I get excited because I can actually see the plane and like the actual plane, like huge, the wings and everything. It's not just like a little dot in the sky. That's exciting. But as far as just finding a little speck in the sky, like I see little floating specks all the time. So, a plane's not that exciting for me. RP truth number 4. I may not see your hand to shake it. No, I'm not a jerk. This is like the big thing that I've had a problem with, because a lot of times I don't have like the most inviting facial expression. Couple that with me not shaking someone's hand, me not waving to someone who's walking by or acknowledging them. I get mistaken for a cocky, arrogant jerk all the time. And it's bothersome because, you know, people can make snap judgments. I want to be liked. I want to have good, meaningful connections with people. But it's kind of hard to do that when people automatically assume that you're angry or that you're arrogant. It's a struggle, but it is a very relatable truth for a lot of people with visual impairments. And then you add the hearing impairment on top of that. You know, a lot of times I'll either look like I'm aloof or just off in my own world. Yes, I say sorry to objects that I run into. I do that. I either say sorry or I get really angry at the object. Why were you standing there? This is an open hallway. You should not be here. Objects and definitely people, because, you know, I look like someone who's completely sighted that just doesn't get out of the way, or I'm not aware of my space. And it's so funny how some of the reactions, you know, I say I'm sorry and some people will be like, oh, no problem. And I remember one time I was walking in a Walmart. There was this woman riding on this little rascal thing. She's riding on the rascal. And as I'm walking by, I accidentally just bumped into her. Nothing serious. It was barely a graze. I turn around and I'm like, oh, sorry, ma'am. She's just like, oh. Maybe she was having a bad day, but I seriously think it was a little histrionic there. RP truth number 6, do not move things around on me. This is just a mental note for myself because I am horrible about that. I literally move my glasses around like all the time. And I will always lose them. And I lose things I set down, I lose my phone, I lose my computer, I lose things on a daily basis because I don't even follow this rule for myself. It's also a testament to, you know, kind of how slow I am to the game as far as organization's concerned. Like, I used to have like straight up really good photographic memory. Now it's kind of hard to have a photographic memory when your vision is deteriorating. So yeah, like this rule was like straight up a note to self. But also you really shouldn't be moving things around on people with retinitis pigmentosa anyway. Once again, don't move things around on me. Wet floor signs will always be the enemy. I agree, wet floor signs are always the enemy. Posts that come out of the ground, they'll always be the enemy. Literally anything that is about from my belly button down that just gets placed in random places at times, always the enemy. Where I work, the floor is light, and then the wet floor sign is also light. I actually ran into it the other day. Luckily, I work late and everyone else is gone, so didn't have to worry about that. But I felt my inner shame. Not because I ran into a wet floor sign, but because I was also on a cell phone. Probably shouldn't have done that. Truth number 8. Maybe you should try glasses. I never thought of that. Thanks so much. So this is like the weird one because I actually do wear glasses. Don't typically wear them when I'm doing film because of the reflective lenses and everything. I don't typically get this on a daily basis. Where I tend to get it is when I have to take my glasses off to read print. For some strange reason, and I don't know why, I can actually read print better without my glasses. When I take my glasses off and I'm like scrunched down looking at a computer screen that's right here, you know, people are typically like, why don't you have your glasses on? Some people, you know, they think I'm crazy, but then I've also had other people who've had relatives who, you know, were the same way. So they'll be like, oh my Lord, my dad's the same way. He always has to take his glasses off just to read a newspaper or something like that. But yeah, I don't typically get the have you tried glasses. When people find out about my visual condition, typically the first thing they always say is, have you tried LASIK? And then they'll suggest some weird, you know, eye transplant thing that they saw on 2020, pun intended. I had one friend who swore up and down that if I rubbed frankincense in my eye, it would bring my vision back. There is currently no cure for retinitis pigmentosa. So, you know, when people often say, hey, well, have you tried this? Have you tried this? Have you tried this? You know, oftentimes I recognize their intentions are well, but, you know, they don't understand that, hey, I live with something that's incurable. You know, while it may LASIK or something else may have worked for one visual condition, it's not a catch-all for all of them. Truth number 9. Yes, I can still sometimes see you, even when I'm using a cane. This one I don't really experience because, like I said, I don't use my cane too much. However, it does bring about the discrepancy that I am blind, but yet I still manage to see. You know, I am legally blind, but that does not mean that I am totally blind. And oftentimes, depending on lighting and certain areas that I'm in, I will be able to see a lot better in one place that I may be able to see in the other. This was also a big thing in sports growing up, even before we found out that I had the visual condition. I actually preferred playing basketball outside, and I preferred playing basketball in gyms that actually had brighter lighting and walls that were white. The rec gym where we played when I was younger, it was like nothing but brick on the wall, and it's that, you know, typical brick style, the, you know, clay red, the brown, and, you know, because the basketball is actually brown, you know, a lot of times I couldn't see it as well as if there was a white background of bricks. You know, my condition is very, very subjective, and I remember at one point I was speaking with a supervisor of mine who was giving me a ride somewhere. It's dark outside, and we're riding home, and, you know, he's like, so what can you see? I can tell there's a car right there in front of us. I can tell right there that that car just hit its brakes. I can see that we're coming up on a stoplight, and I can tell that there's a car in the far off distance. To which I was met with, you're not blind. There was bright sources of light in the darkness, which allowed me to tell what certain things were. I could tell where certain objects are in certain situations, but I may not be able to make out details. Just sort of speaks to the subjectivity of my experience of what I can and cannot see given certain situations. And truth number 10, our last one for the day, I may or may not have meant to hit you with my cane. I can't really attest to me possibly hitting somebody with it. I know when I practiced outside in the dark, I accidentally hit my little pupper with it one time, and you know, at that point I just realized no more practicing outside with people or dogs. I'm just going to do it on my own. It's just something that I haven't really experienced yet. I actually had a friend of mine who's blind, and she used to do this to me all the time. Like, I'd say, you know, wildly smart aleck things, and then all of a sudden, ow! It just proves that just because the person can't see does not mean that they're not aware that you're there. But anyways, those are your first 10 RP truths. I hope to do more reaction videos to this. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys did as well. If you did, please subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon so you get notifications, leave comments about your own RP truths. I certainly plan on making the videos regarding RP truths to be, you know, sort of a series and, you know, sort of a regularity within this channel. So if you guys are digging it, you know, I'm happy to have y'all stick around. This is Josh with the EnVision vlog, signing off.